Welcome to Let's Chat with Nat, Episode 8, How Knowing What You Need and Want Will Help Build Your Resilience. This week, I'd like to have a chat with you about something I was thinking about earlier this morning as I was running around doing my bits and pieces and having my appointments. And it had to do with resilience, as we were talking about last week, but also about how do we know what it is we want, and how do we work that out, and how do we balance our work life with all other areas of our life, particularly our family life, which for a lot of us is extremely important to be able to maintain that balance between work and family. We all hear about work-life balance and how it's so easy to tip the scales and have too much work and not enough family time. So what do we do when we find that this has happened? Now, when we're working and when we're trying to balance other areas of our life, so balancing our family life as well as balancing our own personal self-care, looking, being able to take into account the different hobbies and things that we may be interested in doing that keep us feeling motivated in life, I find, for me personally, I like to be able to enjoy pretty much everything I do. Okay, so you might say, gosh, Nat, that can be such an unrealistic task. But no, it can be achievable. I am currently living that myself at the moment. But once upon a time, that wasn't the case. Once upon a time, I didn't enjoy everything that I do. In fact, I didn't enjoy probably the majority of stuff that I had to do. Even though I was working in, I was working and pursuing what I thought was my career path, I found that it just didn't work for me. And it created a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety, which then spilled over into the rest of my life. And what I found was that even though I was working and doing the things that I had worked hard to be able to go into, they still didn't quite align with who I was. Now, why things like that can happen and why you could go into something that you have worked hard for and at the time it did suit you, and then suddenly, or not even suddenly, over time it starts to not suit you, is that sometimes as we grow and our life circumstances change, what that can do is it can have the effect of changing what we are needing and wanting in our work life. So a lot of you will agree that the work that you did before you had children, for instance, now doesn't resonate or doesn't work for you now that you do actually have kids. Something you may have worked, a job you may have worked at before you were married, before you moved, before you maybe bought a home, may have worked for you then, but now doesn't work for you any longer. And it could come for many different reasons. So it could be, your financial needs have changed. Your, like I said, having children, moving, buying a house, all that sort of stuff. Your situation has changed in some way. These things can actually bring about inner personal change and inner personal growth that then may transfer over into your working life, and you will find that that is not aligning with who you are and what you are, what you need in your life at this stage. So it's not resonating with you, it's not aligning with you, it's not aligning with your family, and it's not aligning with your interests, because also another thing that can happen is your interests can change and grow and evolve as we grow and as our circumstances also can change. So what I find is that when we're able to be flexible, so being flexible is another part of being resilient. So being able to go and move with the flow, and be flexible and open to be able to change different situations within our life in order to help them align with who we are becoming and who we are, we then find that we can continue to change and grow into our ideal life that we are wanting for us now. Now, I could have asked you 5 years ago what you envisage your ideal life to be. And then I could ask you today, what would be your ideal life now? And chances are they will have changed. That idea will have changed. Those thoughts would have changed. What you need would have changed. So if you have asked yourself that very question quite a few years ago, and you are finding that even though you've worked towards that ideal life, you're now finding that what you wanted isn't actually what you're needing now, ask yourself the question again. If I could live my ideal life, how would that look? How would my work life look? How would my family life look? What interests would I have? What hobbies would I do? What would I do in my spare time? And how would I nurture myself? And how can I bring all those things together so they actually form what it is I need right now? There is no harm and shame in being open to making those changes. I know that there can be a bit of a stigma around chopping and moving jobs and changing and even changing the whole direction of what you're doing. But at the end of the day, all that is not something to feel shame or be upset about. All that shows is that you are actually growing and changing as a person, and that is actually what we want in our life. We want to be able to grow and change, and we want to be able to feel movement within our life. We don't want to feel stagnant, because what can happen if we feel stagnant in our life, this will actually manifest into lots of different other feelings and experiences that we may feel if we are not making those nice, gentle, flowing movements of change within our everyday life. This, if we find ourselves getting in a situation that we've been in for quite a while, and we're starting to feel a little bit like, oh, this isn't working for me anymore, but we stay because we are comfortable, and notice that we're comfortable with what we're doing because we know what to expect. Even though we don't like it, we know what is going to happen each and every day, even though what is happening each and every day isn't challenging us and isn't expanding our mind and isn't helping us grow as people. What we will find that will actually start to fester within us and can create all sorts of other issues for us. We will find that our core personality will actually start to change. We will start to lose that natural joy that we feel for our day-to-day life. We'll find that it'll be harder and harder to be able to tap into what it is that makes us happy. If you think about those times where your life is completely in flow, you are just the right amount being challenged, and you are experiencing living a life that is truly satisfying, think about those times and see how easy it was for you to find things to be joyful about. Think about how easy it was for you to find things that you were grateful for. And think of a time then where you weren't in the flow, when you weren't experiencing growth, and when you weren't feeling sufficiently challenged within our areas of your life, and you were starting to feel frustrated and you were starting to feel stuck and unhappy. Think about how difficult it was for you to actually find things that made you feel joyful, that you found it difficult to find things that you were grateful for. And when it came time to, when you had time that was available for you to go and have fun, think about how difficult it was for you to actually think about what it is you would enjoy doing. And when you did think about it, how much did you really enjoy it? All aspects of our life are interwoven. So if we are experiencing a high level of dissatisfaction and stress within one area, it is only natural that that is actually going to have a flow-on effect to other areas. So if there's any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat box. I'd love to hear from you. But in wrapping up our episode today for Let's Chat with Nat, have a think about what it is, what would be for you your ideal life. Okay, how would that look for you? What would you be doing? Okay, how would you be living that? Where would you be living? If you say here, where I am now, that's okay. Look at all aspects of your life. How would that look for you? Compare it. Has that changed to what I wanted 5, even 10 years ago? If it has, that's okay. It just means you've changed and grown and you are ready, to make some more changes within your life. So what I invite you to do is to spend some time this week just writing down what your ideal life would look for you. Okay? Look at all areas of it. Look at your work area. Look at your family area. Your relationships. Write them down and see how it would look. How does it compare to what you have now? And what can you do to start taking those steps forwards to being able to achieve what it is you know in your heart you really would like? Believe you me, it's not as hard as you think. Yes, it will be difficult and it'd be a little bit of a difficult road, but it's not as hard as you may think that it would be. And that taking those small steps each day will help you work towards that goal. Now, as I said, we have this beautiful group now called It's Time to Feel Like You Again, open to women just like you who are wanting to make those changes in their life, who are finding that some aspect of their work life is leaving them feeling unhappy, unfulfilled, frustrated, and they're feeling really stuck within that, and it is starting to spill into their family life, and they'd like some support in being able to align all those areas. If you'd like some personal support from me in helping with that, please feel free to reach out. We could have a 15-minute complimentary Let's Chat session, just you and I working out what it is you would like to do and seeing if we'd be a good fit. I'd love to hear from you, and we can talk about the different ways that we could possibly work together. So I'll put those links in the comments. Once again, thank you very much for joining me for this week's episode of Let's Chat with Nat. I am Natalie, and as always, it's been beautiful speaking with you. See you next week. Thank you. Thank you for watching this week's episode. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. and press the little bell to be notified when I load more videos. See you next week.